Join us for King County Reads, a literary adventure. Hi, everybody. Welcome to King County Reads. I'm Terry Tazioli. Tell me something. When you think of a library, do you think of this?
Shh, shh, quiet. Shh, shh.
Shh. Well, think again. All of the beautiful libraries in the King County Library system are truly community centers, places to connect to information, connect to your neighbors, connect to technology with the free use of computers, laptops, and Wi-Fi. It's a bridge to digital equity. Take a look at the Crossroads Library. This gorgeous facility looks more like a high-end, high-tech bookstore. And get this, it's tucked away in Bellevue's Crossroads Mall. You know, Crossroads is one of the most diverse communities in Washington State, and diversity is celebrated here with people from around the world. And an amazing smorgasbord of international cuisine. The Crossroads Library connection is unique. Rather than a traditional library, it houses a browsing collection. And don't let this facility's smaller size fool you. Last year, more than 500,000 people came here to explore the collection. It's an important hub for language, literacy, and learning. Hello, we're here with Cece Streitman. She is the Library Regional Manager for King County Library System. And we are in probably one of the coolest spaces I've been in a library in a long time. Where are we?
We are in the Crossroads Library Connection in the Crossroads Mall.
And Connection's a cool name. Most libraries have, you know, it's like Bellevue, Kirkland, Redmond, whatever, but where did Connection come from?
Connection is unique in that it's not a traditional library. We have a small browsing collection, which means that we have popular and high demand titles. Another thing that makes us really unique is that we have, as part of our browsing collection, materials in Spanish, Chinese, and Russian. By having those books in those languages, it makes us a place of learning, education, and discovery.
Well, and you're in a bit of a unique community here in Crossroads in Bellevue.
Right.
It's probably one of the most diverse, if not the most diverse area of the city of Bellevue.
It is, and it's also the most densely populated.
Is it really?
Yes, it is. You can see the diversity of the community just walking through the mall. When you do that, it's almost like a feast for the senses, all of the different smells from the food that you are encountering. It's not the traditional mall food. It's of hamburgers and pizza. It's, like I said, a feast for you get everything, and that's totally reflective of the community in which this Connections is housed. The food, the music, this mall is actually really unique, and it's almost like the stores are incidental. The retail shops are incidental. It's all about community coming together, and we're proud to be a part of that, to be a hub of information for the community as a part of their overall mall experience. It's a different type of mall experience here.
Absolutely, and we were talking about this a little earlier. Saturday night is something else here, right?
Saturday night is hopping. Crossroads is the place to be on a Saturday night. It's not going to the club or anything like that. It's being at the mall. You walk down the mall, you might see a concert, you'll see people playing chess, families partaking of the food. It's really lovely to see.
And what does that do for the for Connection? What does that do for the library to have that kind of activity around you, essentially?
Right. I mean, we're part of that. We're part of the goings-ons in the mall. A family will come and they might take in a concert and get something to eat, and then maybe come and take care of their computer business or get books for their children or have their children be on our computers. Computers, the technology piece is really huge for the people that come into Crossroads. We, as a system, the King County Library system, we want to provide digital equity, and we're doing that by offering use of our computers and our Wi-Fi and other electronic resources.
Well, what interests me too is this is a little place. Your circulation is amazing.
Huge. It's huge. Our circulation, last year we circulated about 365 pieces of material. And that
365,000,
yes,
right?
And that's on par with libraries that are maybe 2 to 3 times our size. We had 500,000 people come through our doors last year.
500,000.
Which is amazing. Because we're such a diverse population, we have a lot of new immigrants that come into the library, and it's really nice that we could be a resource for them to help them via the technology to get established, whether that be looking for a job, getting a social security card, getting their food handler's permit. So we are really a place that people look to help them to get established.
You talked about the browsing collection.
Yes.
Right? Which, I mean, we can see this behind us here, and there's more. Where did that notion come from? Who does it appeal to?
I think it appeals to the more casual reader. I think that the browsing collection is a good introduction for maybe some people that are new to our country that are not familiar with how public libraries work. And so we offer things that are appealing to a broad cross-section of people.
And it's set up, it's very much bookstore-like.
Yes.
You know, the way that things are placed and what
Right.
you can see.
And I think that that's totally intentional. I mean, we want to create an environment that's inviting. We don't want to be the library where there are just rows and rows of books, because I think some people are intimidated by that. So it's definitely on purpose.
Well, it's also kind of hard to walk down the aisle like this with your head sideways, looking at all the
Absolutely.
titles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, it's really cool. A lot of our collection is front-facing, so
Yeah.
you can just see it at
Yeah.
a glance.
So when I came in,
Yes.
I noticed to my right, like, look at this. It's like there's a mini sorting operation.
Absolutely. So that is our AMH, or Automated Materials Handling Machine. So
Say
it's
that again.
Automated Materials
Okay.
Handling. And so what that means is it's pretty high tech. You know, back in the day, when you wanted to return your books, you just put in a book drop.
Yeah.
So no more. So with the AMH, you feed it through, and it goes through a conveyor belt of sorts, and then it drops into a bin
And goes back on your shelves.
and goes back on our
Okay.
shelves.
This library in particular it brings back up. It reminds me that these things are still very vital.
Absolutely.
And the libraries, the people we've talked with, as we visited other libraries in the King County Library system, they're crowded. There are a lot of people. And the numbers that we talked about,
Yes.
it gives me the notion that this one is absolutely the same, if not even more so.
Yes.
Why do people find them so important?
Libraries are as relevant today as they were decades ago, but maybe for different reasons. The books are certainly important, but I think books are just one part of the equation. I think that people are looking for experience, and whether that be using our computers or using the space itself, getting information on how to find a job, we're still very relevant, but in different ways. And I think Crossroads is a wonderful example of how a library can be the focal point of the community and a hub for information.
And that's what we've heard several times from folks, and it's really kind of a wonderful thing.
Absolutely.
Is it not?
It is. You come in here on any given day, and every seat and every computer will be occupied. So we're doing it.
Did you know that the King County Library system is one of the most innovative and automated systems in the country?
This is the central hub for moving the collection between 49 branches of the library system. We'll sort between 7,500 and 8,500 items in just 1 hour. Patrons have the ability to request collection items regardless from what branch they're located in. Those items come through here and we send them to where the patron wants them. They can put a book on hold and it will likely be delivered to their branch in 24 hours. Back in 2005, the King County Library System invested in an automated material handling system to meet the expectations of both the library and our patron base, turning around the collection in 24 hours. We are just one of 2 library systems in the U.S. that have an automated sorter such as this. Innovation happens in the West. So our automated system consists of 3 components: automated conveyors, automated material handler, and the automated sorter. The key word for us is connections. As a library system, we want to make meaningful connections to diverse groups of people, offering them opportunity, services, resources. We have a circulation of well over 20 million items over the course of the year. It's the largest circulating library collection in the country. It is a very fulfilling role to be part of.
Hi, I'm Emily. We all know that libraries are important for lots and lots of reasons, but for me, it's all about the books. So I'm here to share some of my favorites with you today. One of the things that I really love about the library's collection is we have so many different titles that you can learn about history and explore history in unexpected ways. So I picked 4 historical fiction novels that I think will introduce readers to times and places that they might not have learned about otherwise. My first pick is Under the Udala Trees by Chinelo Okparanta. This is a coming-of-age story that's set in Nigeria during and after the Nigerian Civil War, so that's the late 1960s, the 70s, and the 80s. It's about a young woman named Ijeoma, and after her father dies, she's sent to live with another Igbo family, which is the tribal group that she's from. This family also has a house girl who's from a different tribal group named Amina, and these 2 girls are living together, they're sharing a room, and they develop a really close friendship, and then eventually they fall in love. Well, Nigeria in the late 60s is not a time or place that's friendly to same-sex relationships. And so the girls are caught together, they're immediately separated, Ijeoma is sent back to her family, and the book follows her from there as she goes to school, as she falls in love again, and she tries to figure out how to live a life that is authentic and yet recognizes the fact that Nigeria is not a safe place to be in love with another woman. It's a wonderfully detailed portrait of life in a time and place that's unfamiliar to most Americans, and it's a wonderful book. So again, that's Under the Udala Trees by Chinelo Okparanta. My next pick is Dark Town by Thomas Mullen. So race in America is a complicated subject and something that we do know a little bit about. Of course, we learn about civil rights in school, but this is a mystery novel that complicates that story a little bit. So this is set in Atlanta in the late 1940s, so after the end of World War II. And it's about 2 of the city's first black police officers. So based on real history, the city of Atlanta did start hiring black men as police officers in the late 40s. And Thomas Mullen uses this piece of history to build a really exciting and compelling mystery. These 2 young men are caught in a funny place. They don't have the full rights of regular police officers. They're not allowed to drive a patrol car. The police force is segregated just like the rest of society, so they have their own sort of crummy office. But they're also seen in their own community as sort of traitors because they're working with the white police force. They're only allowed to patrol the black neighborhoods. They have a really restricted role. And they're out patrolling the black neighborhoods one night when they see this fancy car with a white man driving and a young black woman in the front seat. And they kind of have a run-in with the car, and then it drives off. And a few nights later, the woman is found dead. And so they're trying to figure out who she is, how she ended up in the front seat of this car, and then what happened between that moment and the moment that she was found. Again, Mullen uses this historical time, the racial tensions, the sort of complicated structures, social structures on both sides of Atlanta to create a really compelling noir story. It's got all kinds of twists and turns. And again, that's Darktown by Thomas Mullen. So my next pick is a piece of history that Seattleites might actually remember from when it happened. The novel is called Your Heart is a Muscle the Size of a Fist. It's by Sunil Yapa, and it's set during the 1999 WTO protests that happened in downtown Seattle. The novel follows 7 characters who are involved in the protests in a bunch of different ways over the course of a single day. So you have a couple of protesters, a couple of police officers, the fictionalized chief of police, a delegate who's coming from Sri Lanka trying to get to a meeting with President Clinton that's really vital for his country's economic survival, and a young man who's at the heart of the story, who's a runaway, who's grown up in Seattle, has come back, and is basically trying to sell enough drugs so that he can buy a bus ticket to get out of town. And over the course of a single day, Yapa follows these 7 characters as their lives weave in and out as they run into each other in unexpected and really moving ways. So again, that's Your Heart is a Muscle the Size of a Fist by Sunil Yapa. So my last pick is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. This is a sweeping multi-generational saga that introduces readers to Korea and Japan in the 20th century. It's a part of history that Americans don't learn a lot about in school, with the exception of maybe a couple of sentences on Japan's role in World War II. So this story follows a family over 100 years, and at the heart of it is a young woman named Sunja. She's a unwed, pregnant teenager when the story opens, and she's basically saved from the isolation and shame that come with that by a young minister who's traveling through her town and agrees to marry her. Together they move to Japan, where they move in with his family and raise their children. And the reader gets to follow that family over the course of many years and many historical events. It's a huge cast, it's a sweeping period of time, and the author manages to make all of that feel relatable and interesting by distilling the characters and the moments into these really vivid character interactions. So these characters feel like real people that you know, and you're rooting for them the whole time. It's a story that has a lot of heartbreak in it. It's not an easy time period, especially for Koreans in Japan. They faced a lot of discrimination, they faced a lot of oppression, but it's also full of wonderful moments of joy. So it's a lovely story, beautifully written, accessible, and an interesting part of history that most Americans may not know anything about. Again, that's Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. Thanks again for joining me. I'm Emily, and you can learn more about great books to read at kcls.org/books, and you can follow us on social media.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and don't forget to visit us online.